Hey guys, this is Jeff on the Entrefied podcast. I'm talking about rapid fire thoughts today, which is a whole bunch of stuff rolled up into one. So I hope you guys get a lot of value from it. Go to our Facebook page. It's facebook.com/ENTREFIED.com. Entrefied means entering into your success. We look for those principles, tips, habits. We talk with people that's been on the show, book authors and business owners, professionals. We look for those things that add value to your life, whether it be traits, habits, and things like that. But hope you get a lot from this show, but I'd like to go ahead and get started. Taking some time in the morning to meditate before getting going or before you go to bed, just to relax, I think will add a lot of value to your life. That's one point that I wanted to speak on tonight. Is sometimes we get so stressed and we got to get to the next thing and we're always pushing ourselves. But if you live in the moments will make you great. The moments is where the juice is. If you spend a lot of time always thinking about the future or always thinking about the past, you can't do anything about the past. You can't do much about the future other than plan for it and take action on it. But worrying about it, dreaming about it, may be a daydream, but right now you're losing your moments. Your moments you're losing. So those are the things, like I said, it's where the juice is. So make sure that you're taking those moments, and I'll talk more about that here in a minute, but I wanted you to get that. Just take some time in the morning, whether it's meditating in the morning, it may be just deep breathing. I do that some. I also do some meditation, which is basically the same thing to a certain degree. There's lots of different forms of meditation, and I'm not for all of them, but one thing I like to try to do sometimes is breathe and just let the thoughts come through your mind and realize what you're thinking about and just keep thinking and breathing and just kind of deep breathing. Spend about 5, 10, 15 minutes doing that, or maybe even 20 or more. If you can do that and just be present and be happy where you're at, I think it'll add value to your life. But moving on, getting enough sleep, I think, is super important. There's very big debate on what that is. If you're watching the video right now, I'm highlighting some of the notes. If you're listening to the podcast, that's fine too. You don't have to watch the video. You can get the podcast notes if you'll go to facebook.com/Entrefied and you can get those notes. But we also have them on our website, entrefied.com. But I would encourage you to watch the video if you can too. It'll add more value, I think, to your life doing that too, rather than just listening. Listening's fine, but if you want to watch the video, watch the video. The next thing I'd like to talk to you about is trying to get more air when you sleep. I know that sounds kind of weird, but at some point I was actually kind of closed off in a room. Sometimes having more airflow, I don't know, I seem to sleep better. I seem to have more energy when I wake up. I mean, it's dramatic difference sometimes. So I've started trying to get more air while I sleep, rather than just being in an area that there's not much airflow. You may want to consider that. Maybe looking up something, how to get better sleep. That's also another thing you may consider. But, you're going to have to find out what works for you as far as on the sleep thing. If it's 7 hours, could be 10 hours for you. I don't know. Some people actually say when they sleep more, they feel worse. And there's probably some sort of study out there, I'm sure, about that. But find out what works for you. And here's another point you may try. And remember these guys, that these may just be something you may want to try or you may not. Find what works for you. It's kind of like I heard it said one time, use what's useful and leave what's not. So that's what I'd encourage you to do here. But setting your alarm clock at least 1 hour earlier. Now, what will this do? This seems to actually help me sometimes get back on a schedule that I want to get back on. Sometimes I sleep late, and then I have to think, oh, well, I need to get back in the habit of getting up earlier. So I'll go 1 hour earlier. And then it gives me some time to kind of get used to that. You may say, well, you're getting used to it in a hurry. What I'm talking about is setting the alarm clock and, for an hour and then earlier, and then kind of wake up, sit up in bed, take some deep breaths, get your body and mind going to think, okay, I'm getting up. And you may lay there 10 to 15 minutes. Now, some people have to put their feet on the floor right now. And if that's you, I get it, But for me, sometimes I need a little bit of time to get my body going. I don't know why that is, but sometimes that is. If you look on the screen here, if you're watching the video, I've actually spelled a word wrong here, but I put Fina and it actually is Find. So I don't know, I misspelled that. You may look at that on the notes if you're watching the video. It's also, as I mentioned, the notes are on the website, so you can right now. So you can go ahead and look into that. But I meant to put a D there instead of an A. But I meant to put this: find a way to manage your time better. Get to the point that you can almost manage every moment. If you can get to that point, you're going to be more productive in the day. And a lot of people say, well, it ain't all about productiveness. No, it's not. But even the times that you have time that is, you can take breaks, or you can go on vacation, or you can have fun time. I don't know. I remember somebody told me one time, we was talking about this, and I just laughed at this. I don't know why this is so funny to me, but the person said, well, work's not fun, or they call it a happy fun time. And I thought, I don't know why that struck me as so funny, but it did. And, but work, I'm not saying that work is not fun. So please, please don't take it that way. But I just thought it was funny the way this person said that. I said, well, how's everything going? He said, well, it is what it is, and I'm paraphrasing. I don't remember what all he said, but he said, if work was fun, they call it happy fun time. And I don't know why that's stuck with me, but it really has. But what I'm trying to tell you is get to the point where you can organize enough time and manage your time where you can have more moments that you can do what you want to in. If you spend all your time kind of wasting it, whether it's not productive or it's something you're not getting all the juice out of the moments, it cuts into your personal time too. You start realizing that things bleed over into other parts. So it's like of your life, like your personal time. Well, I should have done this. I should have done that. If you'll manage the time that you have right now and the moments that you have, you'll find that the other time is better as well. That's what I'm getting to. But start trying to be consistent with what you're doing. That's one of the other points that I wanted to talk about. If you're not going to maintain it, like waking up early, it's probably not going to be something that's going to benefit you long term. You can try it, but the people that try things that don't continue them, they just kind of try it to see what it works. And sometimes that's if it works for them, but sometimes that's okay because you're trying to figure out what works for you. But start trying to be consistent with the things that add value to your life, whether it's doing yoga, walking, getting more energy from all those things, deep breathing, those type of things that add value to your life. Try to find a way to incorporate those and also be consistent with them, especially if they're adding a lot of value to your life. Copy success. What works in different areas in your life? Now, I'm not telling you to go out here and copy somebody's work, but what I am trying to say is find out what works. It's really, in a lot of cases, it's not that hard, and you just have to put the hard work in, even though, you learn certain things. For instance, let's say you're playing football and you find out, you start watching people, how they do it. There's still a lot of hard work. Even if you've got some of the secrets and tips and tricks of things, there's an unloading period where you've got a lot of work that you've still got to do to get that experience, even if you've got a lot of the secrets. Now, it may cut down on your learning curve. I get it. But hard work is required pretty much in everything. So copy the success principles that work. Maybe I should have put that better down there. Find the formula. Know what you're good at and what you're not. And the things that you're not good at, if you need to be good at them, find out how to be good. It's just basically find the formula and apply it. In any area of your life, it's that way. It doesn't really matter what you're choosing, what you're doing. There is success principles, and I mentioned it before. If you can find out what they are, then it's a matter of applying them and putting the hard work in. You might say, well, I don't know where they're at. I don't know what to do. That information is available. A lot of times the answers come from the quality of questions that you ask and how much you want to work, at it. That's what it boils down to. Be real with yourself. That's another thing. Are you doing your best? And sometimes the answer is no. Sometimes you got a lot of things, a lot of excuses. I know I've said, I'm not doing my best sometimes. I'll be honest with you. Sometimes we let things get in the way of that. We get kind of clouded. We got a lot of things going on, but you need to determine what it is that you want to accomplish. What do you want to be known for? And what do you want to be great at? Because if you're going to be great at something, you're really going to have to really work at it. It doesn't matter if you're talented or not. Talent, I believe hard work a lot of times, average hard work beats a whole lot of talent. It's just the way it is. Over time, talent breaks down because it can't maintain that. It don't want that. Or, it just is not as good as the hard work. I don't know, I may be rambling a little bit. I hope you guys look over that, but don't waste your time complaining. That's the next thing. Don't spend a lot of time wasting your time talking with somebody about something that doesn't matter. It's just complaining. It's taking the energy away from probably both of you. It's just a waste of time. You need to start to recognize those moments when those things are happening and just kind of see your way out of that kind of mood, that kind of thoughts that's coming through your mind. It's a waste of time. Don't waste your time doing it. Stay present in the moment. This is a golden added value tip. Stay present in the moment you're in at all times. Now, you may say, well, how do you do that? Well, one of the things is you start to recognize when you're starting to think about the future or the past, or you're thinking about something that, doesn't have to do with right now. I've said it, and many times it's harder for me to execute than it is for me to tell you about it, because I struggle with this. This is one area that I struggle with. And my mind I don't know if it's playing tricks on me with this or not, but I know this. But as I've said before, it don't say you know something really, unless you're applying it to your life. So stay present in the moment you're in. Find out what you need to do right now in the moments. When you see yourself thinking about the future or the past, redirect yourself. I believe faith in God and a walk with God finds you happiness. I believe that's how you seek, happiness. And I believe it's in our Lord and Savior, Lord Jesus Christ. I do believe that. I'm a Christian. I believe anything else pretty much is in vain for the most part. I believe that happiness is found there. But I also believe we could benefit from spending a lot of time thinking about what we need to do right now. It's always, we need to be thinking about what we're going to do in the future, or we're always thinking about what happened in our past or something like that. Some of that stuff is wasted time. It's just wasted time, like I said earlier. Rather than thinking about the future or past, just think about right now in the moment. Now, you can spend time when you're strategizing or whatever you're doing in the day. I have a 10 o'clock appointment I generally try to keep, where I can get my head together on strategic type planning things, and I'll be honest with you. Sometimes I miss that. Most of the time, actually, I miss it, just to be honest with you. But it's something there that we've got to become more real with ourselves, that when we set something on our calendar, including myself, we try to keep those things. We try to do better. We're all struggling at something. Don't feel like if you're struggling with something out there that, oh, well, you're just not good enough. The truth is, everybody's struggling with something. Even the things we know to do, sometimes we don't get right. Sometimes we don't study when we need to study, or sometimes we play when we need to be working. It's part of life. But start to be real with yourself to try to figure out what you need to do, and then start trying to do those things. Get to the point when you talk with certain personalities. I want to talk about that a minute. This is another thing that I'm trying to do better with. There's certain personalities that don't really want any details other than what they just want. Okay. I don't know how to elaborate on that and still be kind. Okay. So we'll try to do that. Really what it boils down to is you got to try to get to the point where you're treating people to the point that they want to be treated. Some people don't want to have, a friendship with you. They're not interested in that. They're interested in what they want. This is kind of more professional. It may not be empathetic. It may be empathetic. I don't know, but it's dependent upon a lot of different things. But get to the point where you start to recognize personalities and you start to recognize what people really want, and I could get a lot deeper here, but I won't. I would say this: there's a lot of people that care. They've got a lot of other things going on. They don't necessarily want to spend a lot of time talking about other things other than just what they want at the time. And we'll leave it at that point. But I would encourage you to try to figure out the personalities of how to deal with people effectively. One of the things is trying to get straight to the point. Less words, less is more. Give what's needed and don't offer anything that's not. And that's what it boils down to. Unfortunately, those kind of relationships they're not very productive, as far as, communication, as far as teamwork and things like that. A lot of times it actually is harder sometimes long-term like that, but you have to figure out what you need to do in a certain situation and what a person wants. Now, there's other personalities that they're really chatty, and dealing with certain people, you have to figure out what people want and what they need, as I mentioned earlier. Moving on, find some healthy ways to feel better. This is one of the things that I'd like to talk about. When you get up in the morning, it helps me if I've got energy. Hey, I feel much better. If I have energy. If I don't have energy, my day right now, it's already a struggle if I can't find that energy. And sometimes that energy comes through like meditation, walking, or yoga, or some sort of form of exercise. For me, to be honest with you, I find that yoga helps me a lot. Just the deep breathing thing. I don't know what it is, but it just seems to give me a little bit more energy. I was talking with a guy here a while back. He was talking about exercising. He done a lot of leg work, and he was doing lunges. And I don't know, he's talking about doing lunges for 30 minutes, which I would not recommend that, okay? Especially for somebody that's new. But he was talking about that he had worked up to a point where his energy, he is feeling such a dramatic difference in energy. He said, you may not start off like that. He said, you may get to the point where it's like 5 minutes for you or 2 minutes for you, but at least it's something, and he said, you'll start to see that there's more energy all the time. The next thing I wanted to talk to you about is start to be an example. I was thinking about some of the positive people in my life, and I started thinking about the things that they do so well, and it made me realize that I could model a lot of those things, and I could probably be a lot better person and be happier too. But I can think to some of the people that's in my life, and I think, there's this one person I'm thinking about in particular. They seem to always be in an upbeat mood. They don't let life kind of get them down. They're always upbeat. They're always kind of joking. They've always got a smile. They kind of put, that atmosphere of, joy in the air. There's always something they've got going on. Then I'm thinking about another person that actually is always, telling you how good you are. I'm like, man, that's such an awesome trait. That's such an awesome thing when you get around people to be able to compliment people and make them feel good, And I think back to my grandmother, which she's passed now. Both of my grandmothers have passed, and there's a lot of good things that I can think about them. But on one side, I think about, how content she was. It was even rumored at one point that she said if she did, somebody had mentioned that if she only had 2 nickels to rub together, she'd be happy. And she said she would. From what I heard, that was the story. And I remember my grandmother, she was that way. She's hardworking, and she was all about getting the work done and being right there and being a support system. But I don't remember ever hearing my grandmother complain. And I don't understand that. I wished I kind of, in one sense, the word was more like that I didn't complain as much. But, it is sometimes something that I do, and I'm trying to work on. But I want to be more like a hardworking person that is content. I think to my other grandmother, and I think how quiet she was, and she liked to joke, a little bit, or she liked you to joke with her. She didn't really joke too much with you, but she would get you started and just listen to you. So there's a lot of good things that we have, a lot of good things in people. And if we can start modeling those things at work, we can have happier lives because we model the things that's good. We model the things, obviously, well, I won't say obviously, but the things that we identify with, and they become ours. But I want to talk a little bit more, guys, and I'll let you go. It's almost done. Be curious and explore. And that's one of the most important things is be curious and explore and listen to other people's ideas. You may even try out some of the things that they've got going on. You never know what you're meant for. So it could be one piece of information you get that changes your whole life. You don't know. I don't know. Only God knows. So spend the time listening. You may even be curious. Try to explore things. Invest in yourself. That's the next thing. Through education, eating right, physical and mental pursuits. Find a way to invest in those areas, Invest in those areas that you want to keep and make stronger. I would encourage you to do that. So have a walk of faith with God. That is the most important thing, in my opinion. Here's another thing, and this is the last thing I'd like to talk to you about. is try to save a little bit of emergency fund. Save you about $5,000 cash. And it may be something you can do quickly. It may be something that takes you a long time. Get to the point where you have an emergency fund. And if you can get to 5,000, try to get to 10,000. Then you start looking more into investing and, but you need to keep an emergency fund. And I'd like to leave you with this right here. It says, I have heard it said before that if you will do that, you will never be poor again. That's something a statement I've heard before. And I really feel like that there's a lot of truth in that. Guys, I hope that this has added great value to your life. A lot of information. If you'd like the podcast notes, which there's been plenty here, I would encourage you to go to facebook.com/Entrefied, and that's spelled ENTREFIED.com. Guys, we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.